driver, Son of a Digger. You're watching Rod Rod's Championship League.
What is going on, everybody? Project Rod here, and it is time for racing here in World Finals 1. Matt Johnson and Max D was your fastest qualifier and has set the bracket here, has set the mood, if you will, as he's been dominant all season long in Tour Violet. That's why he's the undefeated champion and the Tour Violet champion. Now, a quick overview of the rules for racing. There will be no turbo used at all. There will be disqualification if you do. Both front tires need to be in the smoke gates, within the ramps, finish ramps. Driving over said obstacles will result in a 3-second penalty for each and every offense. Now, let's go ahead and get started with racing. It's time to crown a racing champion. As we take one last look at the racing bracket for round 1 before we move forward, Blue Thunder and Alien Invasion is going to lead us off. Max D again getting that Byron into round 2. This is the second half of the bracket, as Dragon and Monster Jam Showdown will wrap us up, and Brutus again getting that Byron into round 2 for being the second fastest qualifier. So let's get started with round 1. From Baltimore, Maryland, Blue Thunder and Riley Strider. And his opponent from Connecticut, it's MMJ Producer, the man with the beats in Alien Invasion. Both of these guys from Tour Violet, no strangers to each other in competition. They're going to lead us off here in World Finals 1. And so far, pretty good turn for both of these guys as they are fighting for that World Finals Championship. None of these guys want to be the first one out, but unfortunately, there has to be a few losers in this competition, or a few losing competitors, not losers. Excuse me, but MMJ Producer with the lead early on and taking that W into round 2. Next up, from Pamplona, Navarra, Spain, Bilor 89 in Megalodon. And his competitor from Apple Valley, California, it's kind of fluffy in Gravedigger. And the next race here in round 1, both of them rocking some amazing paint schemes here in World Finals 1, and both would love to come out on top and get a racing championship, as well as the rest of these drivers. Megalodon with an amazing season, a few racing wins under his belt, as well as some fastest qualifying wins, and this guy has been incredible in season 1. Gravedigger, though, some trouble right here, kind of fluffy. Trouble going into the Concrete Crush cars right beforehand, and right there some more trouble clipping one of the trucks, and it's going to be Megalodon all the way if he can finish cleanly. Kind of fluffy going too wide, and that's going to be the end of his run as Megalodon takes the win. An unfortunate loss for Gravedigger, but now it's on to our next race. Another Texas resident, Toucan Plays an Avenger. And his opponent from Houston, Texas, it's Cecily 96 in Lucas Stabilizer. The battle of the Lone Star State here in round 1. 2 Texas residents going head to head, fighting for that loud and proud Lone Star State. Let's see who's going to come out on top. Again, Avenger with that beautiful paint scheme here for World Finals. Both an incredible turn. No, I speak too soon. Avenger going a bit too wide. Can Cecily 96 take advantage of this, as I believe he got a penalty as well. Lucas Stabilizer staying as clean as possible here. Great final turn. And it looks like she will make it to the finish first, and she will take the win away from Avenger, taking the Lone Star Showdown here in round 1. Next up, our Tour Blue champion from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. It's Steel Titan in the Black Pearl. His opponent also from Ontario, Canada, Toronto to be exact, it's Daniel the Fireball Murray in Northern Nightmare. A battle of the Canadians here. In round 1, we had Battle of the Lone Star State. Now we have the Battle of the Canadians, and we're going to see who comes out on top. A beautiful turn for both drivers right here, right off the bat. Northern Nightmare already a penalty immediately after that first turn, so that's going to hurt him, as Steel Titan has a huge advantage here. They both seem to be pretty even, but Steel Titan is staying clean, and it looks like he's going to take the win regardless. An incredibly close race, but Daniel Murray with those penalties, that's what hurt him right here, as we take a look at that penalty really quick, and that was the death of his race. From Daytona Beach, Florida, it's Nova Strider and Crush Station, your last chance qualifier winner. And her opponent from Saxony, Germany, it's Firefly and Gravedigger the Legend. seeing if our last chance qualifier still has some fuel in the tank in terms of racing, and see if she can advance to the next round. Firefly, though, definitely wants to come out of here with a win to prove himself as a top racer. So far, so good for both. Pretty slow in the crush cars for both competitors, though. That would have hurt them, but they hit it at the same time. So both pretty clean. Coming to the finish. Looks like it's going to be a photo finish race. So what is going to be the outcome of this? Oh, but Gravedigger the Legend, I'm hearing news now, will be getting a penalty as he's right there on the line. He just beat her out by a few milliseconds, but that penalty is what cost him the loss. From Tomball, Texas, it's Arcanine 59 in Dragon. And his competitor from Grand Rapids, Michigan, it's April Summers in Monster Jam Showdown. The last race of round 1. Who is going to be the final competitor? Moving on to round 2. Both of these drivers very capable of doing so. Haven't met yet at all in the regular season, as Dragon was in Tour Violet and Monster Jam Showdown was in Tour Blue. So let's see who's going to come out on top. I fear that there may be some penalties. April Summers, though, hitting those crush cars, and that's definitely gonna hurt her time. Dragon going a bit too wide, managing to stay in, but April Summers going a bit too wide as well. And she will not be taking the win. That's gonna go to Dragon and Arcanine 59. So the racing bracket is set for round 2. We're gonna have Alien Invasion against the Fastest Qualifier Max D, and then Megalodon against Lucas Stabilizer to wrap up the first half of round 2. Now going on to the second half of round 2, we have Black Pearl against Crush Station and Brutus against Dragon. Statistically, our tour champions have an opportunity to race each other in the final round, but they have a few hurdles to hit along the way. So let's get started with round 2. From Paragould, Arkansas, your Tour Violet champion and Fastest Qualifier, Matt Johnson in Max D. His opponent, the man with the beats, MMJ producer in Alien Invasion. These guys have raced each other plenty of times in Tour Violet. Now let's see if Alien Invasion can be dominant against Max D, as Max D, of course, is your undefeated racing champion this season in Tour Violet. So can World Finals be the place where he can finally overtake Max D? Both of these drivers looking clean, especially coming to the crush cars. That is the hardest part of this track. I say it time and time again. Beautiful turn by both competitors, but it's going to come down to the straightaway. Alien Invasion getting a bit too wobbly, and Matt Johnson is going to take advantage of that and take the win and move on to the semifinal round. From Pamplona, Nevada, Spain, it's Bilor89 in Megalodon. And his opponent from Houston, Texas, Cecily96 in the Lucas Stabilizer. We have yet another Tour matchup here, as both of these drivers are from Tour Blue and they've raced each other countless times. Lucas Stabilizer almost coming out with a win in racing, but unfortunately did not get it as it went to Megalodon and Steel Titan throughout the years. She's come close. They've raced each other before and they've both been pretty dominant against each other, but this is when it matters the most. And so far, so good. Coming into the crush cars. Nicely done by both, but Megalodon swimming past them with ease. Probably one of the best passes we've seen so far. And Lucas Stabilizer losing it in the turn. It's going to be Megalodon all the way to the finish. A huge win for Pillar89. Cecily96 is out of the racing competition. From Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, your Tour Blue champion, Steel Titan in the Black Pearl. And his opponent, the last chance qualifier winner from Daytona Beach, Florida, Nova Strider in Crush Station. And I've continued this theme all season long, as cheesy as I can be. Black Pearl, the pirate truck, still continues to race sea monsters one way or another, if you want to count the Monster Lobster as a sea monster. But let's get away from that as we're going back to the racing. Black Pearl so far dominant. Nova Strider right here, a hiccup in the concrete crush car area. So that is going to hurt her as long as Black Pearl can stay clean. And he will stay clean all the way to the finish and take the win. He's moving on to the semifinal round. Unfortunate for Crush Station, but we'll move on to the final race. From Whittier, California, Angel Garcia in Brutus. And his opponent from Tomball, Texas, Arcanine 59 in Dragon. Again, these guys have not raced each other at all. They're strangers to each other, as they're from opposite tours. Brutus being in Tour Blue, Dragon being in Tour Violet. Now let's see what's going to happen here in the last race of round 2. Great turn for both drivers. Brutus actually had it a little bit better, but Dragon is still right behind. But Brutus looks like he may have gotten a penalty though. So Dragon needs to stay clean if he wants to take this win, just in case there was a penalty for Brutus. Brutus making it to the finish first, but we're going to go to the replay right here. As he's going through the concrete crush car area, he goes just over the smoke gate, and that new rule is going to be the death of his racing bid here in World Finals. Dragon is moving on. So this is the racing bracket for the semifinal round, and look at this. You got the number 1 of Tour Violet against the number 2 of Tour Blue. And we move on to the other side of the bracket. We have the number 1 of Tour Blue against the number 2 of Tour Violet. So the top 4 drivers from both leagues racing each other here in the semifinal round. It's going to get interesting here in the semifinals. Who's going to make it to the championship round first? From Paragould, Arkansas, your fastest qualifier, Matt Johnson and Max D. Again, your Tour Violet champion going against the number 2 from Tour Blue, which is Pilar 89 in Megalodon from Pamplona, Navarra, Spain. Another international driver who has everything that it takes to be the racing champion here. But who is going to be the one moving on to the championship round? There can only be one. Let's see what the number 2 can do against the number 1 from the opposite tour. Here we go. And quite a match this is going to be, and quite a match the championship round has an opportunity to be. We can either have the number 1 of each league against each other, or the number 2 of each league against each other, or the 1 and 2 depending on what happens. Max D getting a little wild there. Coming to the final turn though, he was able to clean it up and make up the lost ground, and he's going to take it all the way to the end for a win. So Matt Johnson and Max D moving on. From Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, your Tour Blue champion, Steel Titan in the Black Pearl. Facing the number 2 from Tour Violet from Tomball, Texas, Dragon, and its driver, Arcanine 59. So, will we have the number 2 driver of Tour Violet face the number 1 driver of Tour Violet in the championship round, or are we going to have both number 1s, both Tour champions in the championship round? It's all going to come down to this. Dragon already a little bit wobbly there as he made a slight mistake, but luckily it didn't hurt him too bad. So far so good. He's hanging on. He's slightly behind Black Pearl, but he isn't completely out of it yet. But right here, a huge slowdown in the concrete crush car area. Black Pearl is going to capitalize on this moment, and he will be moving on to the championship round. It's no secret here. We're going to have a championship round, a battle of Tour champions, and a match made in heaven here. This is the perfect match. You couldn't have this any better. A heavyweight match between the top 2 drivers of each tour. So who is going to be your racing champion here in World Finals 1? From Paragould, Arkansas, your fastest qualifier, your Tour Violet champion, your undefeated racing champion, Matt Johnson and Max D. And his opponent, your Tour Blue champion from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Steel Titan in the Black Pearl with 3 racing wins this season. So a heavyweight match here in the championship round, a match made in heaven. You couldn't write this any better. This is going to be a match of the century, the race we've all been waiting to see all season long. It's underway. Who will be your World Finals 1 racing champion? A beautiful turn by both competitors. Very sharp. Right here, coming into the crush cars. Beautifully executed. Wouldn't expect any less. Coming down to the final turn. Both an incredible turn. Now it's time to the straightaway. It's going to be extremely close. Looks like we're going to have a photo finish. A photo finish race, and you couldn't have this any better. You couldn't write this any better. You couldn't plan this any better. You couldn't expect this to be any better. A complete photo finish. It screwed up our whole system and marked them both as first place. We're going to have to review this every single way possible. But getting the official time, your winner is Matt Johnson and Max D, continuing his undefeated streak. And look at the time difference between these two guys. Matt Johnson, though, completely dominant all season long until the championship round, baby. Racing champion, undefeated in the regular season, undefeated in the in the World Finals. I can't even speak with all this excitement. This is racing the leaderboards after the fact, and it's just amazing. I'm at a loss for words here. Huge congratulations to Matt Johnson and Max D. Steel Titan put on an amazing fight. It could have been him. It was milliseconds away. We have 2 more competitions to go. Everybody's been doing phenomenal, but now it's time for Best Trick. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to hit that like button, and we'll see you in Best Trick.